Welcome back to the Pick Your Brain podcast. I'm Weekend Gabe. And of course, you know my partner in crime, Johaz, and you are checking out one of the best upcoming podcasts in the game.
Yeah.
Plenty of support coming through these YouTube channels. And so, man, we're getting so much love on the YouTube, the comment section, man. I'm excited at what the work we're doing. How you doing, Joe?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm shout out to all 22 of our subscribers.
Hey, listen, it's real. I don't care.
Yes, we're getting out the mud. We're getting out the mud, man. I mean, just trying to build this shit brick by brick, step by step, man. And just kind of on a somber tip, man. Heard about the DMX news, man. Hopefully pull through, but it ain't looking good. But
yeah. Wow. I wanted to get into that a little bit with our guest this week because he grew up listening to a lot of East Coast music during the 90s. Yeah. So we'll get into that a little bit. But today's a very somber day for the hip hop world as we wait to learn more. But yeah, man, how's everything been going, man? The Dart Adams show went up last week, getting tremendous responses from that. I think we're up to like 100 plays on YouTube, which, isn't like groundbreaking, but people are definitely tuning in and checking it out. Dart was such a great interview and a guest to talk to from that East Coast Boston point of view of the West Coast influence. And he had so much crazy shit. Like he was dropping dimes on stuff that we had totally forgot about. But he was like, his pinpoint precision and his memory and his data bank of just like hip hop history is just absolutely
crazy.
Phenomenal.
Like when he told me that Young MC created bar structure, I was like, what the fuck?
Yes.
Right? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Bring Fash in. Bring Fash in. We'll start on that note.
For a friend of the show, straight out of the West Coast, Fashawn, joining us here on the Pick Your Brain podcast, this week's guest. How are you, sir?
Good, man. I just heard some shit that blew my mind right now.
Yes.
Yeah, man. It was like, so we interviewed Dart Adams. You familiar with him, right?
Yeah.
He's like hip hop historian, and he said like basically Young MC kind of started the bar structure format of rhyming. Am I correct, Gabe?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That he gave us the 16 bars, 3 hooks, and like actually the way that we hear music, or we've been listening to music for the last 30 years, he kind of introduced that on the hip hop side of things.
Yeah. Nobody did that format.
That's the brother who made Bust the Move.
Yep.
Yeah. Marvin Young. And he also, he also wrote Wild Thing and like Funky Medina.
Yeah, no, Bust the Move is Young MC.
Yeah.
Right. And then Funky Medina is
Tone Loc.
Tone Loc. There you go.
But Young MC wrote the song. Young MC wrote Funky Medina.
Did he really? Oh.
Wild Thing. Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh, okay. Hey. Shout out to Young MC.
The other day, we stay out in Fresno.
What? Young MC?
Oh, Tone Loc, nigga.
Oh, Tone Loc. Shit. What the fuck? Yo. How was that? How was he? He got the voice like that?
Like he was just like the character in Poetic Justice. It was
Somebody told me he say cuz a lot.
I mean, he's Loc, man. That's Tone Loc, man. They call him Loc.
Real shit.
Wasn't he was the Baby and Bebe's kids too, right?
You know what? I think he was.
Yeah. And remember he was in American Pet. What was the one with Jim Carrey? American Pet Detective or something?
Oh, Pet Detective. Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura.
Oh yeah, he was a partner. That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, Ace Ventura. Laces out. But man, yeah, it was a great episode. Fash, if you want to go back and listen to it, it is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so you can check it out whenever you're have downtime. But this week is about you, sir. How are you? Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
I'm good. Just taking it one day at a time, my friend. Trying to stay COVID free, trying to stay away from Karens. Healthy and happy, man. That's about it, man.
There you go. As Joe mentioned, today news broke. I want to first sort of just tiptoe around TMZ for a moment. I hate these motherfuckers, but they be on their shit.
Yeah, they always
shit. They always get the dirt. They always get shit they're pretty accurate most of the time. Anyways, but they broke.
The only time they was wrong was when they thought Lil Wayne died, but that's a whole nother story. Okay?
They got Mike, and they got Tiger Woods during his shit. So they're on point most of the time. Anyways, they broke today that DMX had an overdose that led to a heart attack, and he's been placed on life support. As of this recording, the news is that he is off life support, but we are definitely sending prayers and thoughts his way and to a full recovery. Man, I can't even begin to explain the impact DMX had not only on hip hop, but me and anyone who followed and listened to his story. Fash, you were a fan of East Coast music during sort of the height of the division that was happening during the late 90s with hip hop. You were listening to a lot of East Coast music. How did DMX? Were you following him? Were you checking for him? Was he one of those people that was in your scope of the Nas's, the Large Professors, all those iconic names that were coming around?
DMX into my life at a time when I really needed DMX. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I was out maybe 10 years old when Dark and Hell is Hot came out. You know what I mean? And
wow.
And I wasn't going in and out of stuff like that. So I didn't really there wasn't really artists out like that I could connect to, you know, that shared my experience. And with those guys, you know, feel like that I was, you know, better than my situation and the condition that I was in. The shit that he was talking about just really spoke to me directly, man. So DMX, he influenced me like immensely, man. Like, and the fact that he didn't, when his prayers, like everybody prayed for all of us, like on his albums and stuff. Like sometimes those are my favorite things to skip to was prayers, man. Like DMX, man, he's been in my household more than my father in real life has been. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I always thought the connection to DMX in the West because he did the intro prayer for the Game's LAX album, which I thought was amazing. You know, that he was able to bridge that divide and jump on the record, and DMX is just like I was just watching the episode he was on. What's it called? It's that show on ABC about the Asian family. Fresh off the boat. And he's on season 2, and someone told me about this today. I watched this shit. This show's hilarious. DMX has like had this crazy comedic timing about him that just put him in these weird situations where he was always funny as fuck. Like they put him in these weird situations, but he's always gonna be DMX.
I just felt like Fash was saying, like he kind of like spoke for like every impoverished young Black male who dealt with everything like PTSD, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, seen shit. You know, he was throughout group homes, in and out of juvenile hall fighting shit like that. So like you always related to DMX. He was that dude. He was a mixture of like your uncle, the crackhead, the LMC, the wild nigga, the big homie, everything into one, you know what I mean? And it came out through his music, man. So it's definitely sad. I hope he can pull through. It's definitely sad for sure, man. You know? And he was honestly my big homie from San Diego, J.O. Felony. DMX blessed him with the verse. You know what I mean?
What you want.
Give it to you, but what you're gonna do with it. I can give it to you, but what you gonna do? Him and Method Man. So like he always had love in Dago, man. You know?
Yeah.
DMX, that's for sure. That's no question.
Yeah, it's crazy that you guys mentioned kind of picked up all those little different tidbits about his history, and then to go to see his success. Go ahead, Fash.
Man, one more thing about X. His rendition of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is the best rendition ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
The little DMX clause, man. That was the illest shit, man. And also though, like, you know, I kind of feel like his situation shows you, man, that if you're trying to be sober, you got to be completely sober. Because I would see him on interviews and he'd be like, yeah, I'm not smoking crack, but he'd be drinking and shit like that. And if you got a serious addiction like that man had, drinking and shit like that, those are gateway drugs, man. You know what I mean? And I hope, because, you know, you think you can drink, and this is, I'm coming from my mom being the drug counselor for 30 years, man. Like, yo, man, you can drink, but one of them beers you're gonna want to go get some rocks if that's your thing. You know what I mean? You know, you drink enough beer, you're gonna go want to get some whatever, man. So I hope people understand, man. When people are sick, man, you cannot enable them. You know what I mean? I have a lot of people in my family that were in or that are still enabled to this day because you know motherfuckers just don't want to say no to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need a person to be like, no, don't sip this drink. You know.
But before Whitney passed, those were the two people that I wished had seen them to have a second life in their careers where they would like rebound, you know, almost like if you haven't seen the Tina Turner documentary, her second career, her rebound is a lot bigger than her first go. And I was hoping that Whitney Houston and DMX would fall into those categories of having these huge second career rebounds. And unfortunately for Whitney, we didn't see that. And I hope that X pulls through so he can experience that, because I know that there's a huge demand for him to get back, or at least to make music that comes from the heart and with some people around him that actually care about him. So we'll see. Yeah. But Fash, you're on joining us tonight on the show. So I want to start from the beginning. Like take us into the beginning of, you came through kind of like the blog era. You were releasing music online. You've been razor sharp as far as being one of the most influential MCs from the West Coast and making a name for yourself, not having like a big sponsorship like a Dre or anyone really like kind of put you like immediately on the map of commercial media. You really worked and grinded your way to this position that you're in. Well, where does the Fashawn story start for you?
Fashawn began on Venice Beach when my mom met my father. That's where my story began. And and then they moved to Fresno and had my black ass, man. And then my actual story began in Fresno. But I was just a kid, just a lonely kid who had nothing but a notepad and a pen. And I ended up just eventually writing my way out the ghetto, you know what I mean? And writing my a position where people would call it a career. I came through the blog era with a bunch of mixtapes, handful of mixtapes, and just essentially making albums, man. It just progressively started making albums. I met this guy by the name of XXL, and I made my first attempt at, making an album, and it went well for me, man. I made it pretty fast because I was still in the mode of mixtapes, but fast. It seemed like it took me at least 20 years to make, but to everybody else, it might have been like 3 weeks,
Man, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Out of everybody that Exile has done a record with, me and Aloe Black always say you did it the quickest. Your first record with Exile did it the quickest, because all of us, it was like a 2-3 year process, but you went in there and just knocked that bitch out the park. You know what I mean? I remember him playing me the shit y'all are working on, and then like, fuck, 6 months, that motherfucker is out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I always respected that about you. You stuck to your guns, like, nah, this bitch gotta go,
I was just in a good zone at the time. I was working on 3 projects at the same time. I was working on Old Illmatic and that shit with Alchemist at the same time, Boy Meets World. So it was like a really good zone. And but that's where my stories like Fashawn begins. Like as far as like the hip hop, that's when people really started hearing my name. 2009. From there, the XXL shit happened, and then the Ecology came, and then Nas came, and then a bunch of stuff just started top of each other, and then I felt like I arrived. I didn't feel like I arrived until like maybe 2016. That's when I really felt like, all right, y'all, I'm here. But 2000 world was just to get the aroma, let people play,
Because that's dope. That's dope. What I want to ask you is like, what was like the thing that what did you hear? What artists motivated you to say like, yo, instead of me being just a fan of hip hop, I want to actually be an MC? What was the first joint that made you say like, I asked everybody that made you actually want to pick up the pen and pad?
Man, for me to want to pick up a pen and pad, it was probably and it was a record by Goody Mob. It was Self Therapy. That was the first hip hop I had. I had a tape, and on one side it was Soul Food, and on side B, Cell Therapy with the instrumental.
Yeah,
that was the I ever wrote to. And yeah, that was the first time I ever tried like to participate in it, you know, on my own, because I would always say everybody else's lyrics since a baby, you know, but that was the first time I'm like, oh, it's the first time I seen like a blank canvas. I can just rhyme bars to it. And
yeah, how old were you? Around how old were you?
I was 7 years old.
Wow.
But that was so dope. So like I wrote to that, and I was like, I only had one beat, so I let it go about 6-7 years. I just stopped writing because I didn't have any more beats. So I just stopped writing and got into other shit. You know what I mean? And yeah, then eventually, years later, my brother brought me another. It was a Most Def CD, both sides. And that shit had an instrumental at the end of the album.
That's right.
I remember that.
I wrote like 5, 6. Yeah, man, I had a small gap of time when I was just doing nothing, and then eventually found my way back to the pen and pad and hip hop. You know.
Yeah, your brother Vito, you spoke about him. I was watching an old interview you did with Mass Appeal, and he was the one who kind of got you into graphing, and also the one who kind of like chastised you a little bit about not being really honest or true to yourself, and talking a little bit about things that were kind of outside your scope and being more internal about things that mattered to you and what were happening. How important was like sort of that conversation and that mentoring and tutoring just to keep you honest to, you know, your experience growing up in this country?
It was super important to me, man, because I was influenced by a lot of gangster rap and a lot of just disrespectful, just harsh. That was like my favorite. You know, it was almost like a comic book to me, or like this other world to me. So
right.
I wanted what I saw and heard. I wanted to emulate that, and I had no idea what it was to be a pure artist, a true artist, and what it was to like to tell your story and to make art out of your life. You know what I mean? So my brother was the really, you know, catapulted me into that world, because I wanted to be like the Locks or like DMX, Ice Cube. I wanted to be hardcore, but I was just I didn't have any guns. I wasn't big. I wasn't down. I was just a little cub. So my brother was like, speak what you know, I'm gonna respect you. If you talking that fake shit, eventually people gonna fake, and you're not gonna laugh real, and be all right. So shout out to for that.
That always that reminds me of that Jay-Z lyric, is like, if you didn't live it, you didn't rap about it. You know, it's like, but then there was like, then we had like this whole decade of people just, you know, just talking about things that they never did, and it's building careers around things they never did. But it felt like it ran counter to some of the beliefs that a lot of people had.
My brother never told me that, I would have never wrote my first album. I would have never got to a place where I was that honest and wanted to tell my story, you know? So yeah, it's important, man. Be your main goal.
Like, so describe.
You there?
No, we good. Describe to me the you know, like the essence of like Fresno hip hop growing up. Like, what was it real competitive? What was it? You know what I mean? Like how was that?
It was it was very competitive, man. I mean, there was called urban combat, right? Where all the boys would come to battle, all the MCs would come and battle. Any other culture would come together at the college, you know what I mean, and see who was the supreme one at that. You know, we had an event like that, and I would go there when I was a kid, and that's why I first got exposed to Planet Asia and like Diego Red and stuff like that. Like when I first heard the name Planet Asia, I didn't know that eventually that would become like the blueprint of Fresno rappers should know that. When I Planet Asia, I thought it was a group of like the B-boys battling out at Urban Combat. It was just one man, you know what I mean, on stage. Planet Asia's only one person, and he was just kicking. He was kicking that shit, man. That like it was very similar to Rakim and like just this 5% Nation type of and Islam type of philosophy.
Yeah.
black man is God philosophy. I never heard this type of stuff in my life. You know what I mean? And Planet Asia instilled that in me just by being a Fresno MC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And voice of music that he was rapping over, it sounded more East Coast. It felt more like more lyricist lounge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like WA type stuff. So it was, I guess, the feel of it, the essence of it is like really like we're just students of the elements, man. That's what Fresno is. We're a product of the elements of hip hop. Yeah, we're hip hop purists out here, man. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say that's a lot of pure hip hop energy out there. Like, I definitely see Planet Asia being like the Rakim of Fresno. You know what I mean? And because I remember, man, like meeting Asia when I was a young boy too, man, and like this cat always been Planet Asia. He ain't never been nothing but Planet Asia, like that Don, like always been official, always like ahead of this shit, always been like an ill ass MC. And he's West Coast as fuck. He's not trying to front like he's East Coast. It's just he embodied everything that we came up watching, like Nation of Islam, Gaza, Earth, Farrakhan. You're gonna watch all that. Martin Luther King gonna watch all that. And that was just, because I remember speaking with you one time. Was the Nation of Islam, was they like strong in Fresno in the 90s and 2000s?
I wouldn't say like strong like that, but they were definitely out here recruiting. You know what I mean? They definitely they predecessors, during that time up. And yeah, they snatched me up. They definitely snatched me up, cleaned me up, put a bow tie on me, and a final call in my.
You had them bean pies on deck?
I didn't have the bean pies, not me. I never had pies. I had. Yeah, man. All of that music I was consuming from in Fresno, that was like my compass. That's what led me to that place. So yeah, man. But when you ask about the essence of Fresno hip hop, I mean, I gotta say Planet Asia for me. You know what I mean?
Big up Asia, man. We got to get him on here soon. Big up Asia.
So Fresno geographically is north of Los Angeles. Was there any sort of like competitive spirit between what Fresno was doing and trying to compete with Los Angeles, or were you guys just comfortable doing your own thing and living in your own bubble?
I think we were, trying to develop our own identity as a section in California. I don't think we're trying to compete with anybody. I think we were just trying to just our feet in this California legacy. We're just trying to let the world know what we had to offer. You know what I mean? But at times, I mean, I went in there with that mentality. Like if I was in LA and I was on a record with an LA artist, I might have gave the pen a little extra. I'm in the Bay Area, like, you got to hold it down, but it's all friendly competition. It's like at the end of the day, we repping the same coast, the same state, and yeah, it's this Golden State. That's how it is out here. It's this Grizzly mentality,
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about Fash, man. Like Fash and Cash is King. Those are the motherfuckers that if you rapped first and you sent the track over, it's a good chance they gonna try to catch a body on you. Them dudes is unavoidable body catchers. You got to really do the science with them. You know what I mean? And that's what I like. I remember. Do you remember this Fash? I remember I was on tour with Souls of Mischief and Strong Arm Steady, and we had the date with you and Ghostface Killer over in Frisco. You remember that? And it was like, who was there? What's the nigga name that's down with the heavy set dude? What's his name that's down with Planet Asia? What's the nigga name with the glasses?
Oh,
huh?
Shades, yeah.
Yeah. And they was there. It was like, dude, this had to be like, oh, nah, this before even like, I don't even think motherfucking below the, I mean, Boy Meets World was out yet. But I just remember you had that song like, represent the whole West with Alchemist. And I was like, who is this little nigga? Everybody knew that motherfucker. And I was like, damn, nigga, what is this shit? You remember that joint? You remember that show?
Album. That was Alchemist. That was the first Alchemist beat I ever rapped over. Definitely. That was the first example of like what I'm talking about. Like, and I was a kid from Fresno. Like, I'm like, man, I gotta catch a body on this. And I didn't care. I was like, yo, I'm on the throne with two legends, two icons. But I'm like, yo, this is my moment. I gotta put on this thing and like let niggas know Fresno's in the building. you know, 100%.
Yeah.
Not only Fresno, that verse kind of changed my life because Alchemist wasn't fucking with me before. Like Evidence tried to tell Alchemist about me, and he was like, and he just shrugged me off. And then Evidence was like, yo, you want to hop on the song? And that's when Alchemist heard me, and then that's when you got wait, and I got like 2 projects with Alchemist now. So, but
big up Al, man. Yeah, that was I mean, that was a moment I was like, yo, this motherfucker got him. All the motherfuckers knew that, oh, West. I was like, go ahead, man. Yeah.
Shout out to Alchemist. I was joking this past week that the Grammy website had some just random white dude under like Alchemist's profile. And I was like, this is how, like this should have told us that they were not gonna win the Grammy.
I think it was like Ryan Lewis or something.
It was just like some random white guy under the Alchemist profile. I was like, fuck. Like we should have read the signs. But getting like, you know, we're working with like those like Exile, Alchemist, and then like having sort of that be the early start of your career. Like, could it have not began any better than that?
I mean, I really can't imagine it any better than that. I mean, those like, as far as West Coast is concerned, those 2 best to ever come out of the soil, man. Like, or just in hip hop, period. 2 geniuses, man. So I was the fortunate one in that equation. You know what I'm saying? Like,
your setup was crazy.
You know,
did you feel any sort of you know, and this is kind of one of the things that like Joe did on the Dag Savage album. I remember you were like, you know, now I'm linked with Exile. There's a lot of expectations. You know, what was that kind of like similar to your experience as well? As like you have these people behind you rallying for you. Like, do you feel like I got to meet the expectations? I have to like really amplify my messaging and what I'm doing.
Absolutely. The pressure to deliver was overwhelming. You know what I mean? But the only way I could block that out was just immersing myself into my craft, into my music. When I wasn't I'd be thinking about it, just driving myself crazy, just knowing that I have to compete with not history, but I have to blow producers' minds with whatever comes out of my pen. And knowing the artists they work with prior to me, put a lot of strain on it, like especially with Exile, was like Below the Heavens was incredible. You know, how the fuck I'm gonna follow that, right? And but you know, I pressure either makes diamonds or bust pipes, right? One of the
true indeed. You made diamonds for sure with that album, man. Like, how did you initially like link with Exile, man? Like, what? Because I never really knew the story, like how you guys initially started linking up.
Well, Exile knew manager at the time. He knew my manager at the time.
Okay.
They had through LRG Clothing. Yeah, they both knew Jonas, and I guess they met Exile at a party, and they exchanged info, and then my managing artist sent some beats over. He didn't say for who specifically. He just said, I got a few artists. Exile sent some beats over. And I guess he tried to, you know, my man gave me the beats and gave his other artist the beat. The other artist, I took the beats. I'm like, oh yes, I've been waiting on some shit like this. I heard him. But I didn't really know who Exile was yet. You know what I mean? I think I might have saw an LRG ad with him in blue or something like that. Really listened to the music. Had me Below the Heavens, and I'm like, yo, I gotta send more beats, man. And I'm like, tell that. And then I think the first song we did was Lupita. And Maybe Life is a Shorty or something like that. And then what? This is the music I can finally tell my story over. And that's when I made the decision, like, yo. And then Exile put me down with Dirty Science when I came to LA. I was in Rec Worm's basement. Allo came through, and man, I got to meet everybody, man. I think Blaine might have pulled up on us, and
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Like, I don't care where you're from, where you're going, you're down with us, man. Like,
yeah, Fash, man. Fash, he was just like, it's crazy because like there's about 4 beats on the Boy Meets World album that I had, and I think like Blue had, but like you killed some real fast where it was like no debate. Like this is Fash's beats, man. You know what I'm saying? You know how Exile do it. Everybody will have like a few of the same beats, but the way you sliced through them and had your shit ready, I was already like, oh, salute this little nigga. He cold.
I mean, he could have went any other way because you know we all samurai, man. We all samurai. So yeah, man.
What do you you were saying that like at the top you were kind of like you didn't feel like you really made it until like 2016, which is the year removed from the Ecology, your first release on the Mass Appeal label. Like talk about like the journey going through the blog era, releasing mixtapes, releasing albums, going through the grind, you know. And because when we look at the blog era, like the currencies, the chances, like there's so many the cool kids, there's so many amazing names that came through that time period, and you're one of those names that was able to flourish and reach the top, you know. So what is that like, that journey when you look back at it, like what did that mean to you?
Man, I gotta thank all the people behind the screens who typed my name up, and thanks before Spotify, before all the shit. And yeah, but man, like they took my mixtapes and treated them like albums, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
and the journalists really dissected them like were like official bodies of music, you know what I mean? But to me, I was just practicing, you know, I was just trying to, you know what I mean? But yeah, to survive all of that and be able to, you know, make a couple artists, I guess, is mind blowing because I feel like I'm still practicing sometimes. I'm just, you know, practicing, you know, because I don't know, I feel like I can go back and add a song to any one of my, I'm still like, still in the mode. I'm just still in a creative space. So it's like, yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm just getting started, man. Sometimes.
Yeah, man. Like that's what I was thinking, because think about it, man. I feel like your freshman XXL class was like one of the last legit classes. You know what I'm saying? Like it was you, Nip, Wiz?
Shit, me, Nip, Cole, Wiz, Gibbs, OJ, Gibbs, Sean. I'm missing somebody.
That's the best freshman class ever, bro.
Let's see. Where we can look it up right real quick. Cole was on there.
Nip.
J. Cole was on there. OJ, Freddie Gibbs, Big Sean, J Rock.
Yeah, I said everybody. But yeah, man, I was talking to Blue about this the other day. You know what Blue had the nerve to tell me? He said, yo, I'm gonna do this with my boy Nip right here too. Hold on. You know what this nigga had the nerve to tell me?
What?
He said that my class was better than his class, man.
And who was on
his class?
Who was on Blue's class?
Fucking, he had some killers on that class. It was Currency was on that class. Ace Hood, Corey Guns, motherfucking Mickey Fax.
Yeah,
they had some killers on that.
Nah, your class was better, bro. Your class was better, bro.
Kid Cudi, you know what I'm saying? Like, but they had like some real superstars on that list though. So, but it was humbling to hear Blue say that, because you know, I mean, goddamn.
Fast, stay there. We can really hear you real good.
Yeah, I was about to say you sound great right there.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Solid.
If you can.
I got you. Well, yeah, man, it's all good. I'm just happy to be a participant in this culture, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Now let's kind of like fast forward, man. 2016, is that when you first started fucking with Nas and Mass Appeal in them, or what?
Nah, I started fucking with them in like 2014. 2014. It was a long process just after signing the deal and and finishing the album and getting everything ready. So, but
okay,
yeah, I had to deal.
You did the Ode to Illmatic. Did that put you on his radar or what?
I don't think so. I don't think that's what did it. That's not what did it. I think it was just I was maneuvering a lot, man, from New York to LA to Europe, and just I was really making movies out here, man. And yeah, I think it was a phone call from Interscope that put me on his radar. It was a brother by the name of Tunji, and he called his people, and that's when they discovered Fashawn. But you know, I was already out here making movies like Scorsese, baby.
I remember fucking the name Tunji. I remember that shit. I remember
he used to be an MC. I think he still raps, but we know Tunji from just brushing shoulders
and the blog shit and all that shit, right?
Yeah. So when he got into position at Interscope, I guess I was one of the MCs that stuck on his mind, and he was like, "Let me go back and go get the young boy." So he came back and he tried to snatch me to put me on Interscope. Ended up putting me, you know, giving me a situation over there on the East Coast. But yeah, man, it was really cool. It was almost like going to practice for the Lakers. Like you go to try to, you know, audition for the Lakers. Yeah. And they're like, you know what? We can't have you over here. The roster's full, but you can play. We're going to send you to New York. It was like one of them type of situations, you know?
Nah, that's dope. And you did numbers. You still doing numbers. You still on the court.
Oh, man, you know. It's
all
good.
Like, did you ever get a chance to like in person, like spit bars for Escobar?
Yeah, of course. That nigga done pulled up on me in the studio plenty of times. Like I'll be in New York, and then he'll just hear that I'm in town, and he'll just magically appear in the studio. And I'm like, I'm serious. He'll just magically appear, and like, I'm like, what are you doing here, man? I remember one particular time, it was his birthday. I think it was like his 42nd or 43rd, and I was in New York, and he just got done doing the Meadows Festival. Just got done doing the festival, rocking for like 20,000 people. And I saw the show and went straight to the studio. And then Nas pulled up on me right after the concert. He was like, yo, I heard you was in the studio. I wanted to come check you out just to hear what I got going on. He was like, yo, I'm a fan still. And I'm like, that's ridiculous because I'm a fan of you, right? I got done being a fan, like in the crowd, singing all his lyrics and almost forgot I was on a nigga's label and shit. But he pulled up on me. Anyway, he pulled up on me and we did a song over like a Static Selector beat or something. And yeah, that shit happened plenty of times though. You know, that's just one particular story. But yeah, I mean, I got to kick bronze with Esco. Just yeah, man, that's what we do. It's hip hop. So yeah, he's a real NIGGA, man.
Because the Mass, like when he took over Mass Appeal, I don't remember who else is on the roster, but it was you and Run the Jewels were kind of like the two big names that were like kind of like sort of rebranding Mass Appeal from the magazine into being this other part of the media aspect. And so I was like, that's pretty fucking interesting that he's choosing like someone from the West. And then obviously Killer Mike's from the South, but LP is from New York. But like this, he didn't like to sort of reach in and try to pull up all these other names, but he diversified the sounds. And did you kind of realize what was behind the master plan, or were you just trusting the process? You know, like the 76ers.
I was just happy I didn't have to. I was just happy I knew I didn't have to like sell drugs anymore, or do dumb shit for like money. I knew I had this like a good situation on the way where I could just, as long as I don't fuck it up, I'll be okay, you know?
Yeah.
And I knew I had like something valuable. So, but I wasn't thinking about anybody's master plan. I was just trying to stay legal and out of trouble, man, you know?
That's comforting. Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it.
That's what we strive for, definitely.
But if I could keep it a buck with you, but I didn't see his master plan. Like I was the first solo artist over there. I think I might have signed before Run the Jewels, but I was the first artist signed to Master Pill. I think like the first one ever. So
yeah,
man.
There you go.
West up, nigga. West out. Yeah.
Yeah. What is what you're like now that you're 6. Oh my God, it's 6 years removed from the ecology, and I know you dropped some EPs in between that time. What's next up for? I know, and I was listening to that old interview too, and you're like, I'm not really into. You were saying like you're not really into like hitting people over the head and just releasing shit to release shit. Like you really want to be like strategic in what you're doing. What have you been mapping out during sort of this down period that the industry has been going through because of the pandemic?
I've just been stacking up on music, man, filling my vault up and just doing projects with like certain producers, you know what I mean? And just EP over here, LP over there. Like I did an album on the East Coast just recently. I just went out to New Jersey and Philly, knocked out an album with this kid.
Yeah, I saw you out there.
Yeah, I just knocked out an album with his brother named Lil Vic. Which is crazy. I'm excited about that. And I did another one on the West Coast with my brother Veterano. So yeah, the next wave is gonna be crazy. And I'm going back to my mixtape Fash chamber too. I got a few mixtapes I've been hiding from y'all. So I'm gonna drop that really soon. But yeah, that's what I've been doing, man. As far as plotting and planning, can't say much. I just can say that those projects are on the way.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'm just very afraid. I'm just very afraid right now.
No, you can't be afraid, man. You can't be afraid.
Yeah. I'm afraid and I'm worried. I'm very worried. I'm very worried.
What's troublesome? What's troublesome?
All right, so I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm worried that no other rapper is gonna be able to eat after I drop these next projects. It's gonna be a fucking problem. I promise you. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a season of famine for a lot of y'all. I'm sorry.
Yo, yeah. Luckily I got EBT, nigga. So I'm gonna go to you. And I'm gonna charge up EBT.
No, we got some shit dropping together. I ain't gonna say too much.
Yeah.
We got one in the chamber.
What I wanted to ask you again, man, because it's sounding real good right now. I kind of wanted to just relap around like when you initially connected with Exile, because right now it's looking real good. I just wanted to like touch back on it. Like, what was the moment when you first started linking with Exile?
I first linked up with Exile around 2000. I'd say 2009. My manager and him, they knew each other through this company called LRG. I guess they did a photo spread together, and Exile slid my manager like a CD or beats, and my guy came back to Fresno and played these beats for me, and I just fell in love with Exile's production. This is before I even heard Below the Heavens, but instantly fell in love with the production, and that shit just spoke to me. It was the kind of music that was telling me to tell my story and not just write just basic raps, you know. But it was like, yo, be honest, be transparent, and tell you, keep that shit. So yeah, we just made a musical marriage from there, and we've been family ever since, man.
See, it happened so quick, but it was so organic, man. It was like wasn't no long thought out shit. You know what I mean? You guys just linked. I remember hearing some of the initial recordings, and then like shit, 5 months later that shit was out and it was on fire, man. And I always respected how fast you work with Exile. You work with Exile the fastest out of the whole crew. Still to this day, you hold the record. Boy Meets Girl hold the record, man. Holds the record.
Yo, but nah, that was just sheer inspiration and just sheer like, man, intuition, man. I was like, you know what? The time is now. Like, I need to tell my story now, because I got all the blogs was paying attention, and half the hip hop community knew who I was at the time. Maybe not everybody, but I was definitely making a name for myself. And I figured, man, while I got this attention right now, I need to let people know who I am, you know? Yeah. So that's what Boy Meets World was. That was the first chapter in my biography, you know?
Can I go back to the freshman list again? Because what Nip the 2-year anniversary is passing was just last week. Did you have an existing relationship with them? Like, what was that relationship like?
Man, me and Nip, I met Nip before I even dropped my first album. We was just running around LA, and this cat by the name of Phonics, he's a producer out there. Phonics told me about him, and then I ended up running into him. Matter of fact, he ran up on me. I was at an Evidence concert, for the Weatherman.
Oh yeah.
Releasing some shit. And I'm in there just, as a fan. Well, at that point, me and Ev was like starting to become cool and like friends and stuff like that. So I was with Ev at the concert. And then these 3 big ass Crips walk up on me, man. I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? Right? I'm like, what did I do? I thought I had to check my fit for. I'm like, do I got red on? But anyway, but they walked up to me, and this kid with long braids and some glasses on gives me his mixtape, and it's Nipsey Hussle. And I'm like, yo, I've been hearing about you, bro, and whoopty whoop. And I'm like, how much you want for the CD? He's like, nah, cuz you good, just listen to it. And he gave me bullets ain't got no names, like 5. And yeah, next time I saw that nigga, we was shooting a cover for XXL. Swear to God.
Crazy.
To God.
Crazy.
And
that's how the
I saw
universe
it was in
works.
New York, on the whole other coast. And we sitting there like, I remember getting a haircut with the nigga. Like, I remember, man. Yeah, that's one time I got a haircut with Nipsey Hussle in New York. That shit was cool.
dope. R.I.P. Nip.
But
R.I.P. Nip,
I don't know,
man.
but like we got history, man. There was a time where we wasn't so cool too. Like, I remember when he put out this $100 project, and I was bugging. I'm like, nigga, you crazy? How you gonna drop a $100 project, right? And yeah, I guess we had an exchange on Twitter. It wasn't too crazy. It was just a Twitter exchange.
Yeah.
And that was probably the last conversation we had. You know what I'm saying? It didn't really end well, but because we never got to see each other after that and like reconcile or even talk about it. So, but I always had love for that brother and still do to this day, man. He's one of the voices of my generation. And as long as I'm alive, I ain't gonna let nobody forget about the kid. So that's for sure.
Indeed, man. And I know you was on tour with Jay Stone, so I feel like that subconsciously was mended through that tour.
Yeah,
am I right or wrong?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like Nipsey orchestrated that from up top. You know what I mean? Because
yes.
Yeah, I feel like the big homie did that. He quarterbacked that whole thing. But yeah, I mean, if it was any smoke at all, I know Jay Stone would have handled that for the homie. You know what I mean? Like I already know what type of nigga Jay Stone is. So yeah, and it was all love.
Pure
man.
misunderstanding shit. Pure misunderstanding shit.
Yeah, it was just some bullshit. So, but Nip, I knew he was bigger than all that shit. So, man, rest in peace to that brother, man. Straight up.
I always say like Nip was kind of like what Pac was trying to do. You know, he did the things Pac tried to do because he lived longer than Pac. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no Pac, there's no replacing Pac, but like some of the things that Nip was doing was trying to put in motion. Pac was speaking on, but his shit got cut short. Nip shit got cut short, but at least Nip is a motivating factor for a lot of these. I be seeing these dudes come through, young boys, got the shit tatted on them. So definitely, definitely, man.
Nah, he was a revolutionary in the making, man. In the making, he was gonna be one of them like Fred Hampton type of figures, man. He was a young chairman, you know. So, but they blew his candle out too early, man. He still had a lot more to do, but at least we know he's gonna spark the brain that's gonna, change some shit, because that's what Pac was trying to do, and I feel like he carried on that legacy, in a real way.
And see, and that's another thing about the West Coast culture and hip hop, man. We got probably the most PTSD influenced behavior because of the shit we see. We see legends really get killed on some gang shit. Then you see just your average Joe get killed on some gang shit. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. This shit gets played from the music down to the streets, man. The genocide that's happening in the West Coast with this gang shit is out of control. In San Diego, it's a big gang war going on, right? And somebody just got smoked on the side of the freeway. Shit is wild. And the cold part about it, well, I'm not gonna get all deep like that, but the cold part about it is sometimes them cats was rapping about doing that shit to other people. You get what I'm trying to say? So when people don't realize that, man, that's what's different with us in the West Coast, man. We got hip hop, but then we also got gang culture, and it like blends through. You know what I mean? And it's always confrontation.
We got gang culture, we got Panther culture, we got the crack culture. It's like it's a juxtaposition of a whole lot that Californians consume. You know what I mean? And that's all that's all regurgitated in the music. That's why there's hieroglyphics and NWAs and fucking Razzcazzes and you know what I mean, and Sebos and Johazes and Fashawns, and it's a complex thing, man. But yeah, it's fucked up because like we're surrounded by so much beauty, man. But the streets is just ugly still to this day.
Ugly, man. It's ugly. Motherfuckers don't know what to value, man. You want to take out the king. You know what I mean? You want to take out these niggas, these pawn niggas is they you know, I know you see it in Fresno, just like it's in Dago, just like it's in Chicago, man. You know,
yes, sir.
Want to always take out the king, and then when you take out the king, every shit is just running amok, no order, you know?
Man. Yeah, niggas we gotta rise above that shit, man. That's what they call what the nigga Nas say, the king's disease. You know, Woo. King's disease is real.
Come on.
You know.
Well, Joe, I don't know if you got anything to follow up with, but man, I just appreciate you just giving us a lot of your time, a lot of your insight, your background. We learned a lot tonight.
It's lit. It's lit.
Man, that was beautiful. We had a beautiful one. This is good. This is what it's about, man.
When is the Dirty Science compilation coming out? That's what I need. I need you guys
to talk to the Abbott. Gotta talk to the Abbott XL, man.
But when I talk to the Abbott XL, man, he wants to put it in motion. It's just like people like you gotta bug him about it too. Because Fash will bug him, I'll bug him. But the other motherfuckers gotta bug him.
I'm ready to see that movie, man. Tell Blue to send him a text message or something, man.
Come on, dude. Our movie is gonna be crazy. Our shit gonna be better than NWA, nigga.
Hey, you don't gotta say it out loud, but all right.
I don't want my shit, but I don't want the movie to come out until about 10 years, though. You feel me?
For sure.
Wait, about 10 more years, then put it out, you know?
We got some more content to put in there, man. We got more
That's
moves
what I'm
to make.
saying. Let's live a little longer. Let's see. Woo! Or 5 years. 5 years.
Maybe 7. The God year. 7.
Because if it's like, listen, if it's like BET New Edition, woo! We can do one right now.
I mean, you know, we can go chapter for chapter, but we'll talk about that later.
I mean, do you want Eddie Winslow?
Netflix.
Do you want Eddie Winslow playing you, or do you want Michael B. Jordan playing you? These are the questions.
Michael B.
Yo, I don't know.
Winslow, nah. You know, Winslow might be in the beginning when I first started. You know, 7th grade.
But BET gonna get Eddie Winslow, the homie that played Eddie Winslow.
Yeah, like they go Eddie Winslow, Joe.
Be careful what you ask for.
Fash? Who's playing you?
Who's playing me? Shit. That nigga Don Cheadle. Let's go.
People never age.
Yeah. JD Nutt.
Hell yeah. Yep.
Who will play Blue or get played by? Who can play Blue?
Who can play Blue?
That's
a tough one. Blue is like
there's an actor.
Was it what tell me
Avion Crockett if he got serious.
Oh no, Eric Andre.
Yes. There we go.
Yep.
Eric Andre.
Yo.
Exile, who plays Exile?
John Goodman.
John Goodman.
I'm playing. I love you, X. I love you, X.
What's his name? Seth Grozer or something?
Seth Rogen. Oh, Seth Rogen. Oh, that'd be dope. That'd be more accurate, but that should be pretty.
That'd be more age appropriate. I think John Goodman is like he's almost dead.
Yeah, he's too old. They gotta be Seth Rogen.
Can you imagine John Goodman chopping up beats in the movie?
Yeah. That'd be the illest shit ever. Fucking Roseanne's husband on the MP. Crazy.
Hey, yo, Blue, man, come on, let's go.
John Goodman, Eric Andre the scene. Oh shit!
Dog is like, hey, Blue, hey man, you know this beat, man.
Oh Lord, yo.
But all right, man. Hey, good looking on coming on the show and building with us fast, and like keep much success to your new endeavors. I know you about to kill him, man, and I just appreciate you just sharing your time with us and our people and every fucking thing else, man. Big up to Fresno. Shout out to the whole Grizzly City camp, my man's Omar, my peoples, all my niggas, man. You know what I mean? What's my nigga name? Dirty Otis Reed.
Dirty Money. Dirty Money.
I can't shop him. I just thought I was like, man, I can't end it thinking about, oh, this nigga didn't even save me, huh? You know what I'm saying?
All love. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, thanks for having the kid. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Y'all take it easy. Shout out to all my niggas in the north side of Chicago, all my people out in Santiago, you dig, San Diego, love y'all. And yeah, look out for my new project, All Hail the King, and Carte Blanche coming soon. Your baby mama coming sooner. You bitch.
All right, that's this week's podcast. Pick Your Brain Podcast. Don't forget to give us a follow on these social medias at Pick Your Brain P, and also subscribe to the show. Do us a favor, that we're out.
Peace.